Showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
I can see Bo Porter rolling into town nice and slow-like. Just keep your hands where I can see them, Bo. Yes. All right, good. Bo Porter's here. If you're running the Angels, Shohei Ohtani's already gone, right?
I would have traded him last offseason.
Wow.
Last offseason.
Even with, in the real world, business considerations included.
Well, see, the first thing that you have to do when you walk into the room and this decision is on the table, and I learned this from Jeff Luhnow, who was an excellent executive in Major League Baseball.
Ruthless GMing, yes.
He said, Bo, you have to remove all the emotion. And that's very hard in our game. You have to remove the emotion, and you have to remove anything that's non-baseball related. So when you look at the Anaheim Angels, their biggest issue is not accepting the reality of what the team really is.
And where they are.
Yes. Yep. They're not accepting where they are. So when you look at the American League and the notable AL teams, the projected final records.
But right now they're a game out of a wild card. So couldn't you justify holding on to them to this point?
You can try to justify it, but you have to ask yourself this question. All those teams that are in front of you, they're actually in position to make themselves better. The only way you can possibly make yourself better is by depleting your organization even more, which is a huge part of your problem. So when you start to look at, and I'll give you these examples. The Yankees last year having Aaron Judge. You know why they didn't trade him? One, because they had a championship team, okay? So you don't trade at that point. When you look at the organization, let's just say you have his replacement in place in your organization. The Nationals had Soto sitting in a wing waiting to replace Bryce Harper.
They let him walk.
Yes, they let him walk.
They didn't trade him, but they let him walk. Right.
If you are the Atlanta Braves, you had Freddie Freeman. You knew that you had a championship team. He was due free agency. You were okay waiting until the offseason because
trading for Matt Olson. Yeah, I still think
had
that was
the capital.
A mistake, yeah.
I had the capital to make the trade.
Right, but there's still. You're right. It's a little more daunting because you have the Astros and the Blue Jays ahead of you, as opposed to those National League teams that you have the Marlins ahead of you.
Exactly.
The Giants. I agree with you there, but I'm not just saying business considerations. And I rarely push back on this because I'm like, you're right. Baseball decisions only. But Ohtani he puts people in seats. You are trying to be relevant. Right? So if you're tearing it up and then you're wasting, Mike Trout, age 31 and 32 seasons not making the playoffs? Like, how many times can you retrench?
Well, when you start to look at even Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Ohtani, let's just look at their big three. When all three of them have been healthy over the course of the last 3 years, they're healthy, they're in the lineup. They're still
They're not winning.
They're still a sub-500 team.
Right.
So when you start to look at your roster and you say to yourself, even with Ohtani, even with Trout, even with Rendon, and them healthy and in the lineup, we are playing 59 and 62 baseball.
By the way, you're making great points. Hard to do in the real world. Hard to do in the
It's hard to do because everyone that you're talking to, they're emotional. You can't trade the best player. You can't do that.
You also have to live in a stadium that people are not showing up for another year, as opposed to they are there. All right, I have another one for you.
Yes.
No, you're not wrong. I got a beef on this. I say if you have to go to replay and slow-mo a possible balk, you're trying too hard to create a balk. The Ryan Stanek, this is a 7-7 game in the 8th, and they bagged Ryan Stanek for a balk on a tiny movement. Where are you on this?
Where I am with this, the rules are the rules, BK, and our umpires have to have the freedom to call them regardless the game situation. His knee flinched. That's a ball.
Oh, my God, it's so small. You can barely see. I didn't even see it there.
But this is the thing, BK. Let's just say in the NBA, the 24-second shot clock goes off. Guess what?
No, that's much more of a no.
It's a violation.
It's different when a buzzer goes off as opposed to. I think I saw his knee go like from here to here.
But it's not a think. His knee did budge.
You had to be just so focused on that. Also, the spirit of the rule is: are you deceiving the runner?
Yes.
Who's he deceiving?
I understand the spirit of the rule, and this is one that's real touchy. But I think, from a standpoint of our umpires, they have to have the freedom.
You've never seen a guy move. Right. Technically, you can call it.
Yes.
But it's an unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate.
All right, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Eury Perez has been terrific this season for the Marlins. Take a look at some StatCast numbers that we have on him. StatCast is powered by Google Cloud, and there are only 3 pitchers who are in the 85th percentile or better in velocity, spin rate, and extension. And Perez is 6'8". I'm actually surprised his extension. Glasnow and Chapman are like getting closer to the plate. He's only 89th. But velo, 95th. Spin, that's nice, 99th. Now, the Marlins are thinking of holding him off until the All-Star break. So giving him a couple of weeks off. He's only 20. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it because, for me, if you're the Marlins and you're saying to yourself, we have a chance to play meaningful games in September and possibly October, and we want him to be a part of this, you have to look at his innings last year. I think there was somewhere around 77. He's really at that mark right now. So there is a lot of information out there that basically will point you in a direction where a player starts to get in possible trouble.
I essentially agree with you, but the fact that they're in a wild card position now, isn't this kind of more of a pivotal time? Like, to use his innings, if you're going to use his innings. And I guess you could get caught later as well, right? It's a Strasburg situation, 2012.
Every time I hear that Strasburg situation, it's, because I was in Washington during that time, and we ended up losing in the postseason. But if you're the Marlins, you could continue on this path, and August the 15th, August the 20th, he's done for the year. You can make this decision, see how the team continue to play, and now when you get to September, October, and you have
use your weapon.
Yes, your most important games, it's almost like you're getting a new acquisition.
But we know they're in a precarious spot. Are they likely to be in that position later in the year? I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. But then now if you're in that position, now you don't even have to bring them back, because now you can go ahead and rest them and get them ready for next year.
Right. By the way, I agree with you. And yet, is the object to keep resting guys? Like, is the object to eventually pitch the guy? Like, we've successfully made him not pitch. We've won.
Well, because they're looking for sustainable excellence. No, they're trying to protect their player.
Yeah. No, you're right. Bo's right. He's ruthless as a GM, but he's right. Good stuff, Bo.